Hello and welcome to the Nerd in Motion. And I'm actually out and about, literally out and about. So I'm currently, what's my sat nav saying? Let's have a look. It's saying we're handy information. We're actually 200 feet above sea level. Why that's the thing, I don't know. Let me have a look on this one. We are 1 hour and 24 minutes away from Cardiff, so we've got to get a shimmy on. So obviously I can't live stream and drive. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this camera up on the other side of the car where I can't touch it and I can't see the screen. And then you guys, I'll turn the camera around so you can see where we're going, and probably just mute the mic or keep the mic on low. So we've got Luke John says, no farmers, no food, no future. Well, this is it. This is all about, isn't it? The whole thing of giving farmland up for other uses, but it's not been done in a way where it's been asked nicely. It's just like, you will do this, which is kind of, I don't know. I think it's a bit of an overreach, if I'm honest. That's people's livelihoods. And old Drakeford today has done a runner, as I understand it. He's gone to Brussels to hang out with his other globalists friends. Luke John says, I've heard John has pulled up in a lay-by to plant trees to offset his carbon emissions. He'll be with you soon. No, well, I'm not. I was busting for a wee, actually, and I was talking to somebody else on the phone. And I was like, I have to go. I've got to. I'm going to literally, and I need to get on this live stream. So, yeah. And whilst I was there, I planted a tree. Definitely. He's out and about. I am. I'm definitely out and about. Hello, Jellyfish. What? Yeah, I am. I'm literally in Wales. I only decided to do this about, I don't know, a glass of wine in on last night, and I said to Lydia, I need to go and see what these guys are doing, and she said, you should. Yeah, I know, right? So the tractors are slow. So I don't know how many tractors there are. I did find a news article that said that there would be, they reckon, 300 tractors and up to 15,000 people. But we had this with the convoy in America, where somebody put some figures out on like a sort of newspaper article, and the figures we don't even know where they got them from. So then it was like, I don't see any farmers, and it's that might be the ploy. So I just want to go down and see, because there's very little reported on this. There's really not. So I want to go down and find out what's going on. I want to hear from the farmers themselves and see what their thoughts are. And I think my position where I sit on it, I just don't think this is right. It's, as always, it sounds like a lovely thing. It's good for the environment, and it's good for otters and all sorts of random stuff. But I don't believe that is what it's about. I think it's about control, and I think it's about people wanting to have control of food. But I also really like tractors, so this is going to be a fun thing, just to go and have a look at all the tractors. I understand the importance of the framework, but the way to go about it is wrong and threatening livelihoods of farmers. Exactly. That's exactly it. Because where does it, Luke, become like, it's like a pendulum, isn't it? We're swinging all the way. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with a bit of socialism, looking after people, making sure they're okay, caring for your environment. I don't think that's a bad thing. But then we're into this place where it's like, we must control everybody and everything, and have control of all of the food, all of the drink, all the money, everything that goes everywhere, and then it becomes a dictatorship. And then we're in a different position then. And that's, for me, is the worry. And I feel like it then, I think the far left and the far right have too much in common. That's my personal view. The guaranteed tractors, there is guaranteed tractors in Cardiff. I've seen them being prepared on Twitter. How many tractors? Not sure, but there's tractors. Right, Luke, I think you're a mod, aren't you? Exactly, Jellyfish. Controlling food, water means you control everything because it's the most basic of living needs. Exactly. So I'm gonna set this camera up on the other side. I'm not sure. I wonder, can I swap the camera direction? Let's have a look. Can we flip to the other? There we go. There we go. So we're on the back-facing camera now. Right. So I'm going to set this up so at least you can see. I'm going to stick a ticker at the bottom, and then we're going to get going because we're still a little bit out. So I might waffle on. I might carry on talking about what I think. Now, will this work? I'm hoping this will work. It might not, but we can try, can't we? Maybe that wants to go a little bit higher. There. I've got a very fancy camera mount for cars. So I'm gonna. Oh no, hang on a minute. Yeah, we'll be with you shortly as I attempt to be professional. That must go like there, really, doesn't it? No, that's too low. There's literally somebody in the car in front of me looking at me like I'm a complete lunatic. And then that's probably right. Right. Let me just put this down a sec. Problem is, you can see them. Do you mind if you see the mount a little bit, people? I don't know. Just. You are a wrench. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Attempt. I am attempting. Right. Okay. So we're going to head now to Wales. You can see the mount slightly, but such is life. I don't plug the power into the phone because I'm guessing it's going to get famed. There we go. We've got power. Charged. Whoa. Right. So I'm not going to be able to see the questions, unfortunately. So I have a Mars bar 3 and, of course, Mountain Dew, which is the taste of freedom. Hell yeah, brother. So I think that's somewhere near. Right. Let's hit the road. Let me exit. Can I actually run nav on this? No, I can't. Did that just cut my camera out? I think it did. That's good. Okay. Getting down with the Dewey. Oh, yeah, boy. Right. I'm going to leave that there. I've got sat nav on my other screen. Let's go. Let's go. I'm going to turn the temperature down because I'm actually a bit warm in here. Right. Let's rock and roll. I can't play the music, can I? Because of copyright. Well, if you're from another country, you'll get to see the beautiful grey country that we live in. Exit. There we go. Oh, there's a load of Range Rovers on a container over there. On a container transporter. All getting ready to be delivered to customers to be stolen. Right, let's drive this way. Okay. So there we go. So yeah, hopefully let's see what the farmers are doing. Let's support them. Let's have some conversation with them. We want to know what they actually think. You're probably wondering why I've started this so early, and the reason is I started it really early. I don't know if you guys can even hear me, but I started this early because last time I did a stream like this, it took absolutely ages before we got any numbers in. It was like well into an hour before it started to pick up some pace. So I thought what we'll do is we'll start this now, and then hopefully we'll get somewhere by, I don't know, an hour, well, as we get closer. So we're obviously looking for tractors at the moment. I'm not looking forward to the 20-mile-an-hour zones either. I know you've got to watch in there. For those watching, if you haven't driven around Wales, you have to be super, super careful because they are very keen on speeding. In fact, there's an average speed camera just up here on the right. I've seen 4 police cars as well this morning already. So last night so I went on the Welsh farmers protest group and joined last night, and yeah, it was interesting to see what was going on there. There was some Chinese people claiming that they were journalists, but I think what they're trying to do is do a fluff piece for the CCP. Certainly looked that way. But then that just bounced down. It's on the moon. Don't need that now. And then we had somebody posted up about that their kids were going to a school trip in the area and going to see this Parliament building in Cardiff, and we're like, oh, the kids, don't do anything because the kids are there. But then part of me is like, I think somebody commented that actually what I thought, which was, well, if you know something that is so emotional and heated and a protest is going on, then why would you take a school bus of children there? I think that's just common sense. So yeah, if that were me, I wouldn't be taking my kids into the centre of that. Although I think that it'll be peaceful enough, but you never know. You don't know. I mean, depends on how frustrated. It's dependent on how the police behave. It depends on all sorts of things. It really does. So we don't know. So, gosh, I'm so glad this car's got cruise control. Just set the cruise and off we go. It's time to break into a Mars bar because I'm starving. I think this might be the first time I've ever been to Cardiff as well. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing Cardiff. Been to Barry, wow, that river's nice. Went and saw my mate Simon, and we filmed a video, had fish and chips together. It was very nice. Barry Island. So I was talking to him earlier actually about how he feels about it. He's quite a balanced chap, and he said it's just got to the point where he feels that Labour as a whole might have completely screwed the pooch on it, and that it's just becoming a bit of a dictatorship from the powers that be now. Drakeford, dictator Drakeford. So you know, he's an oddball. He is definitely an oddball. So yeah, well, don't really not know what the outcome is going to be for him. Part of the thinking is maybe he's putting in all these rules to kind of put him in place so that when he's gone, it's done. There's nothing anybody can do about it. So yeah, I do wonder. Let's get past this truck. Yeah, there's not a lot of speeding that goes on around here. I'll tell you that. Everybody seems to be a much more chilled out. Red tarmac, you know, that's for sure. So yeah, I just think for farmers, this is over government over opinion, and you know, it's their livelihood. And farmers, they work really hard, really hard. Like I couldn't do what farmers do. In fact, we have a guy um, called Window Beer Reviews with Thomas. I don't know if he's watching, but he's over in Ireland. He's a farmer, and like the hours that man does is insane. He told me once, like the time he has to get up, go to work, what time he finishes. It's proper hard, and the fact these farmers work hard for their money, and we need farmers. Like, there's no way that we could survive without farmers. There's just, especially really for this country, I would like to see more produce from Britain and our farmers not undercut so much by Europe. But that's my personal view. But yeah, they work hard for their money. You know, I think to be fair, uh, the government should really be looking at ways to help farmers, help them grow what they're doing. If they're going to get them to do stuff with their land, then they need to show um, some sort of figures. They need to show what they're doing, and that they've got a goal of helping farmers going forward. That's what I think. Um, but this doesn't seem to be that. This just seems like somebody's made a rule in Brussels, and then all the farmers are like, "No, we don't want that rule." And that's where's it? Where are these rules coming from? They're, they're unelected. It's 2030 agenda, and you'll have nothing till you'll be happy. That's what they're going for. Absolute control. Getting some hills now, so I'm hoping 62 miles out we are. Time to crack that Mountain Dew. Oh yeah. I really wish I could read your comments, guys, but I don't fancy getting a ticket, to be honest. Can you tell me if that went off? I just unplugged the charger and plugged it back in again. Did the camera go off or did it stay on? Yeah, not sure what I can do about that. Why does that turn off then? I don't understand. I wonder if it's a setting in the phone. Oh, gosh. Oh, how I long for a racetrack. That's another thing that they'll try and ban before long. Motorsport altogether, you're not allowed to do it. Everything's clean that's electric, like London Underground. That's really clean. It's electric. Oh, sorry about all the rain. All it's done in the UK is rain. All winter. All we've had is rain, 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 rain. Tiny bit of snow, rain, 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 rain. I'm like, how much more water can fall out of the sky? It is ridiculous. What I might do, I'm wondering, Luke John, because I don't know how much of an exciting stream it'll be with me just driving along. I don't know. It might, if you're free, I don't know if you fancy hosting it for the next 56 miles until I get there. I need to work out why this blooming phone shuts itself down. Shouldn't be too warm. It's only 19 degrees in it. Not saying overheated or anything. Okay. Oh, yeah. Ping me an Instagram message so I can find you, Luke. And I'll yeah, do it on my Nerd Emotion Instagram. And I'll send you over a link, and then you can post it. Go to the comments. I can't from where I am. So I wonder when I'll start seeing some tractors. That's my question. So I'm just looking at the map now on my display. Yeah, so I'm just by Hereford, heading into Hereford now. That's where the SAS are from. It'll be very interesting. Very interesting to see what's going on. It's interesting, I guess, in chat so far. I know there's only a few of you, but you've all stated that you're with the farmers. I haven't heard anything yet where nobody's with the farmers, although I can't see comments now, but I think overall there's good support though. Oh, we've dropped a little bit of speed now. Let's pick it up a little bit. So my old diesel here is currently getting, so past this, 46.9 miles per gallon on this journey. That is not bad. I've done 171 miles so far. 3 hours and 38 minutes of driving. I actually stopped twice because I was busting for a week. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. The only thing for me at the moment with this car is I can't get used to the cruise control on it because it does braking as well. It doesn't coast, so it's a bit weird, but it's not bad. Just need to get used to it. It's automatic, so at the moment I'm just cruising along, got no feet on any pedals, just chilling. I got stuck in a traffic jam in Manchester for the best part of probably 35 minutes on the M60 this morning. And yeah, being an automatic was pretty darn cool. Oh, look, some military vehicles. Pretty cool. Probably the Welsh Guard around here. Oh, hang on a minute, Hereford might be. Who knows? Who knows who's in those? All but speculate. People, there's a nice pond down there that they're fishing in. Yeah, definitely a lovely car. This for doing some miles. It's like piloting. I feel like a steering wheel attendant rather than a driver. It just wafts along, doing its thing. But yeah, 46.9. That is not bad at all. Admittedly, I've been trying to stick it to the speed limit and just taking my time. I've not been in like giving it any welly. So we'll be getting into Cardiff shortly in 49 miles time. Not worrying about coming out. So, okay. Roasted by a BMW. So for those watching abroad, The reason that you have these yellow lines that get closer together is to give you the illusion that the junction is coming up faster than it is and that you're going faster than you should be, so that you slow down in good time. That's the reason for it. There's another police car there. That's the 5th police car now, I see. Right, there's some services here. I'm going to stop and I'm going to send you a link, Luke John, and then you can get set up. Let me pull over. Oh, there's a Burger King. Everything in me wants a Burger King. It's blooming indicators as well. Right, let me pull up in here. No Burger King. Don't do it. You're trying to stay thin, John. You're trying to stay thin. Got a Mars bar. Just stick with it. Right. These are the bins of Wales that I'm pulling up in front of. Right. Let me see. Oops, it's gone off now. Right. So, how do we? First things first, I need to change the settings on this so it doesn't go off. No, that was the wrong button. For sure. Settings, camera. You can see my beautiful face whilst I'm doing this. Ta-da! Right, let's have a look. Yes. No, that's the wrong button. I'll catch up with his comments actually. Whilst I'm here, let me go to settings. Manage. Peeps. I'm still here. Right, back to this. Invite a guest. Copy that. Go to Instagram. Yeah. Right, okay, let's have a quick look at the comments. Sustainable farmers is supposed to be exactly that. However, I think economically it's hard to reach the goals. I buy from butchers and pay almost the same as the supermarket these days. Well, this is it, yeah. They're not, the supermarkets aren't that cheap. They are. They are. It's a wrench. So the idea is to meet targets to set out the carbon offset and green projects. Most farmers agree with it and would join the initiative, but it's costly and does impact them greatly. Getting down with the Dewey, electric Range Rovers, no one would steal them. It's true. It's true. We can hear but can't see the comments. So moving on. Right, thanks. Bobby Crush, hello. Yes, it says. Ah, Thomas, there you go. I was talking about you. How you doing? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I think we need to talk about it and see both sides of the story, not just the one that mainstream media likes to tell us. That's ultimately it. It's Wednesday, but I've still got Monday's underpants on. Well, this is what I mean. Farmers don't have enough time. Question for you: if the land was given over to trees instead of potatoes, and you were told that there was no subsidiary, would the Irish do it? Last Monday, underpants. Thomas, hope you turn them inside out, upside down, back to front. Thomas is not a farmer; he's a moonshine merchant. Oh dear. Agricultural land should be exactly that, agricultural, but most part of the country has been given up for housing. Yeah, it's the farmers that get the bum deal. Yeah, it's true. Lock up sheep, nearly there. Planning to reform needs to be included in the sustainable framework. Thousands of hectares of land being built on. Where is the demand of sustainability in the planning? Oh yeah, so I went off. It froze a little. At Croft, Croft Race Circuit. Someone bought a house next to the circuit and complained about the noise on race days. Well, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. People are just, oh, well, I didn't think it'd be that loud. And you're like, well, don't buy a house near a racetrack. He's totally free in 20 minutes. In Herefordshire, over half of the agricultural land is grassland. A quarter is for cereal crops, and 10% remaining is for fruit and veg. Yeah, I was going to say that that's not a lot. See, I'm guessing that this rule comes from Europe anyway, and it might be different percentages there. Here we go. We've got somebody in the basement. Add to stage. Here he is.
It is I.
Hello, mate. Long time no see.
It is indeed, mate. Long time.
So you're looking well. You're looking well, mate.
Slim. 10 stone off in the last year, mate. Since we last met each other. So,
10 stone.
10 stone. I only look fat because I've got a beard.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well done, dude. That's amazing. Wow. Yeah. Absolute legend. Right, Luke, I'm going to put you in charge. You obviously know more about this than I do. I've just got to get on that road, and you need to just do your thing and talk to people.
Yep, I can do that, mate.
You're a legend.
I'm a northerner. Right. I'm a northerner. I can waffle on.
I can't hear you, weirdly. I thought you'd end up coming through the speakers in here. I'm going to swap the camera over so that you can see the facing the road camera. There we go. There we go. And then that is the map that I'm following. So I'm going to put you back on the windscreen. And Luke, you go for it.
Not a problem, mate. Entering Monmouthshire, which is the first county you come to when leaving Hereford.
So yeah, you tell people about your channel and what you do and all that kind of stuff. Give yourself a shout out and so people know. In fact, we just got a message from the farmers group, but I need to get down there first.
Put your foot down, John.
Right. I'm hitting the road. Which way do I go? I think I do this one. There we go. Right.
Yeah, so my channel was I was kind of like in the same realm as John. So I used to work in the beer industry. And then I started to review beer for YouTube because it was a great idea at the time. I thought if John and Paul's beer reviews can crack on with YouTube, then so can I. It turns out it was a little bit more of a pain in the rear than anything else. So now I do food reviews. I've got a little bit of travel stuff on the go coming up, delving into the world of whiskey. But I also used to be a local councillor up here on Teesside, and one of my major things that I was on was planning. So where we were, it was basically farmers giving up their fields, selling it on to developers, and instead of agricultural land, grassland, arable land, it got turned over into thousands of new modern homes, which people know if you've got a modern home, it's the bog standard Taylor Wimpey UK home. Not very sustainable. So that's kind of where I'm at the minute. And then now we come around to the sustainable farming and what Labour are doing in Wales. And I'm not going to get too political because it actually goes for all sides. And Wales has a total different makeup. But yeah, I kind of agree with the framework, but the way they're going about it and the subsidies to farmers not being there, kind of a little bit of a slap in the face. They're willing to work with the Welsh government. They just want something out of it themselves as well, which is fair game. It is their land after all. So, but yeah, it's kind of weird how there's like all these different freedoms that are getting took off. I mean, John mentioned earlier about the trucks over in the US, freedom over there. We don't really protest that good, if I'm honest. Here in the UK, we kind of just sit back and chill out and just rant at each other at home. But it's kind of a good thing that especially farmers taking a stand. So good on them, and I'm all for protest, to be honest. Never mind the government trying to make it illegal. That's just more of a dictatorship than anything else, if I'm honest. So I think John's actually in Wales now. And as you can tell, that it's got a different type of greenery on the trees. I don't know if it's Welsh specific or because it's a little bit damper. I mean, it's like the Lake District. The ground's a little bit more lush, the greenery and everything, because it's wet.
I can't hear you, Luke. I'm sorry. I literally can't hear a word you're saying because of what's going on. But I don't know if I'm just going to throw a suggestion out there. Maybe checking out some news sources, see what's going on. Because they've got 1 hour before it officially starts. Obviously, I don't know what's going on exactly.
Yeah. So as I was saying, like over on Twitter, so the No Farms No Food, which is a campaign for the farming industry. They've kind of been the ones behind the protest, and they've actually got some great insights, some videos from actual farmers, not politicians, being told what to say. These are real farmers who understand and acknowledge what's going on, which I think is pretty great. And they're going to be sending their tractors down there as well. So let's see what else we've got. Welsh government slowly trying to dismantle food production to herd you into 15-minute ghettos where they will have full control of your life. That's over on Twitter. I kind of love these. Can I call them conspiracy theories? 15-minute cities and the government want to control you and this, that, and the other. Not really when it comes to farming, but so there's already photos of people in Cardiff already stood there. Police already look to be out in force. There's a photo there from James Freeman. Shows no farmers, no food. So it is early, but people are starting to gather outside the Senate, which is the Welsh government building. Business as usual within the Welsh government today. They're not actually scrapping or doing anything different. People are saying Welsh government completely out of touch. And as John alluded to earlier, Mr. Drakeford is in Brussels. Apparently to show the best of Wales.
Sorry.
John's lovely input there. Just share this stream out. Yeah, it's kind of good that we're going to be supporting farmers, albeit John on the road actually going to Cardiff and me being here in the office. But I think everybody can do their own little bit. I'm a huge supporter of farmers markets up and down the country. I love to pop, farmers market or local butchers, fishmongers, head over to a baker's. Bakers being like real bakers, not Greg's, Coupons or other such. Because what you'll find is price-wise, they're pretty much the same as supermarkets these days. So you're not actually paying over the odds anymore for decent locally made sausages straight from the farm. I've got one, and I'll use it. One next to me called Rareford's Farms in Durham, and they're fantastic. They've said, they butcher their own, so they're actually growing it, feeding it, butchering it. They know exactly everything that those pigs have had to eat, what the cows have had to eat. You can't do that in the supermarket. You walk around the supermarket, and a lot of the time it's being imported. And now that we've left the EU, which is fortunate or unfortunate, depends on which way you go on that one. We're getting a lot of lamb, mutton now from the likes of New Zealand. Look at that. Lovely Wales. Wales is a lovely country, by the way. And to be honest, I do like the Welsh accent, which is totally different from the accent that I've got and what John's got. So, but yeah, need to do more. Don't know if anyone in chat supports their local butchers. But if you walk down a high street now, because the supermarkets have come in, you'll no longer see, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. you know, the fishmonger, the ironmonger, you know, you never see that anymore now. And likewise with supermarkets, you've got your online shops, so your Amazons, which I was disgruntled because when I was an elected councillor in Stockton, we had Amazon that come in for its second distribution centre, and these places are like the size of a town. Like, go to a Yorkshire village, go into Huddersfield, and you'll find that you know, just one distribution centre is kind of the same or a similar size to that. Alice McIntosh, in supporting these protests against SFS, here, are we saying we shouldn't aim for zero carbon, or that we should find a different way of doing it? Like requiring every golf course to turn 20% of trees instead of farm. No, so when it comes to the sustainability framework, what you need to understand is, yes, we can all do a little bit, and farmers aren't saying that they don't want to plant trees, but in doing that, what they need to do is subsidise and support them. So, you know, you're a farmer, you've got a set size of land, every acre has its own cost, which then you have to try and get revenue from. You give that over to planting trees, or bogs, or especially where I am. I'm in North Yorkshire. We've got a lot of peat, bogs and stuff like that. But all that land has a set price, you know, that you've got to take an income from. So if you reduce that to help governments reach zero carbon, which personally I don't think we'll ever get down to zero carbon. You know, I think it's a kind of a bold enough statement, but not necessarily one that's going to be achieved, especially any time in our lifetime. But they need to be subsidised, and the government need to be realistic about it, which at the moment they're not. So if you actually look on where, you know, no farmers, no food, and you see what the farmers are saying, it's a lot of us already do that. A lot of us are already creating new biodiversities on their land. You know, the years of using pesticides, a lot of that's changed now. They're going for more natural solutions to that. So I think farmers are already doing it. I mean, you know, requiring golf courses 20% of trees instead of farmland, you know, it kind of goes into the planning realm of things. You know, take a farmer's field, we can put 500 houses on there, comes up to planning. There is no mandatory planning policy that says you have to plant trees. So what you do is you expand that concrete jungle, and you know, they don't have to do anything about it. So it's kind of why try and bring farmers into the fold when they're actually already doing it, but then they neglect the whole swathe of planning, policy, and all that, which doesn't help one bit. But I mean, what do you think, Alice? You know, it's kind of, I'm here to listen as well as just speak. Like I said, I'm pretty good at just waffling away anyway. Thanks for being sent home from work so I don't get trapped in by the farmers. So I'm just trying to understand it a bit more. Very interesting. 100% many things come down the plan. Yeah, it's... I sat on planning. I was an elected member. And every single one that came up, I was always, well, where's the sustainability framework in this? Sustainability, biodiversity. You know, you're just chucking up bricks and mortar, left, right, and centre, and the only thing we get is, well, it has to meet the local plan. So every council within the UK has what they call a local plan. Now, my local plan where I was, or where I am, was we need 10,000 new homes by 2035. So what was happening was every time planning application came in, 1,000 homes a year, 2,000 a year, you could never refuse it, because within planning, the local plan has a huge impact on the decision that you make. So it's like, well, you can't really refuse these 1,000 houses because it's telling us in your local plan that you need 10,000 new homes. So then your hands are tied and you get a solicitor there that is, no, you can't take it down. You can't take us to court. If they take you to court for refusing it, you won't have the support of the council, this, that, and the other. So kind of hands are tied and all that. All down to the LDP. Yeah, it is indeed. Good morning, Disco. Well, Lukey here. Morning greets. Happy done midweek. Happy streaming. Cheers, Disco. Cheers, Disco. Thanks for popping in, mate. As you can see, John's currently on the road driving. Doesn't want to break the law. So it's kind of got me up here as wingman, waffler, insert here. But yeah, I mean, funny enough, in my local plan, in my local authority area, there was nothing in there about farming or arable land or how much percentage needs to be given over for grassland, crops, fruit, vegetables. I mean, I did put in the chat when John was driving through Herefordshire that only 10% was used for fruit and veg. Over half was grassland. So grassland is more your meat or your dairy and grazing land for cows, etc. So Peter gets stuck in traffic as he gets closer. Roads were hectic half hour ago. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I did warn him about getting stuck behind tractors because they move a little bit slow for my liking, but I'm sure we'd be all right. Can he hang around today? Sadly, up the brewery, cleaning general stuff to be done. Well, enjoy the brewery, Disco. Is it Perryvale once again? I wonder. Yes, that's what's missing from the local development plans. No areas assigned. Yeah, we had one that was designated a local park. So it was natural, it was woodland, bit of bog, and it was just full of wildlife. Owls, deers, rabbits, balls, mole, the whole shebang. And they kind of worked around the framework and the legalities of things. And then they ended up building 80 houses on the edge of it and took away a lovely green space and the deer and the wildlife are no longer there. So now they're looking at the other parcels of land within that and saying, well, there's no wildlife. It's kind of like, well, you destroyed the habitat first, and now you're wondering why there's no habitat. Now it's good for housing. Councils have a huge, huge part to play in it all. So I think John's gone through Monmouthshire. Shouldn't be that far off. Maybe about 20, 25 minutes, half hour at the most. Maybe. Can't see any of what the signs say. Yeah, but for those of you that are just joining, because the numbers have just gone up slightly, I'm not John. John is currently in the car driving. He's on his way to Cardiff. John is off to join in with the farmers' protests at the Senedd, the Welsh Government building in Cardiff Bay. I suppose he's in support of the farmers. I'm going to fully heard John's view on it all as of yet, but I would think he's in support of them. So
22 miles to Cardiff now, so we're not so far out.
22 miles. There we go. So roughly half an hour. So I wasn't too far off. Give a little bit of traffic here or there. Bide our souls. We stand with our farmers. Indeed, we do. Thanks for joining them, putting a comment. We do indeed. Our farmers are, you know, as it says, no farmers, no food, no future. I remember I was a kid. It must be about 22, 23 years ago, and it was all about the bees and how pesticides were killing off the bee population and how important bees were and this, that, and the other. And then, you know, it wasn't government policy that brought around changing it. It was farmers saying, well, we need bees for our crops to pollinate. You know, the bee dies out, then we're kind of up a creek with just a paddle and nothing else. But it was the farmers, it's the farmers themselves, and they're already putting over countless hectares and acres of land for biodiversity and, you know, wildflower meadows and things like that. So yeah, they already do a lot. So it's just, unfortunately, we've got governments that enjoy to get as much out of them as they possibly can. Counted 67 riot vans, a couple of tactical vans, a big loyal police horses, walking to work this morning. Yeah. Apparently at Alert, what they're saying on Twitter is they're expecting around 10,000 people there. Which I could possibly see. Depend on the weather. because like sometimes great, get out there, protest, but then us Brits, even though we're used to the rain, we're not too keen on standing or sitting in the rain that much, are we? So, well, fingers crossed. We can get there. We can get quite a few in. It's too early in the States to look at Luke John. Thank you very much, Joey. Yeah, I'm a picture to be old. Face that only a mother could like. Hence, like, not love. 10,000 Welshmen and 50,000 sheep and 15,000 cows are shown up to support. And hopefully about 2,000 tractors, Joey. Well, let's be for this end. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of so it's been pushed. But we've had this. We've seen it over the last fortnight. So across Europe, farmers have really been out in protest. So it's not a Brexit thing, it's a farming thing, and zero carbon and this, that, and the other, and it kind of tells you the story of it all, that farmers are really unhappy. So the subsidies they've been getting have been dwindled down to next to nothing, and now the government are demanding more but don't really want to put the money there. So yeah, it's a tricky situation for them. This 4-lane highway with 2 lanes each way is it's the widest road in the UK. The A1 has got 3 on each side. I just think, Joe, you really do like our highways. If you just see somebody on a Vespa fly past now, you know it's Joey on his way to the cookie mart. But again, we talk about highways, and you talk a lot about transport infrastructure and all that. But when they want to add an extra lane to a motorway, they go to the farmer and say, "We're taking a bit of your land, buddy. End of story. We're doing this because it's vital for the economy." And usually what you see is down the sides of motorways, that all that greenery, trees and everything, that's kind of land that was given over from farmers to begin with. So they're the trees that the farmers originally planted, and then 20, 25 years down the line, when they come knocking again and say, "We're going to put another lane in," they take him out and then tell the farmer, "Plant more trees." It's silly, isn't it? But go back to comments. This protest's going to be huge. Yeah, I hope so. Like our soul, I really do, because I was saying earlier that we seem to have given up protests in this country. We really have. We don't follow through with it. We kind of now in the generations of sit at home and just tweet it or post it or take a photo and put it on Instagram and say, "This is it." But when it really comes down to livelihood and what's going to impact you, that is when you see when people really get up and take action. So I think John's just let one loose there. That's why the audio's come back up. Bobby Crush. Boycott letters. Nothing wrong with a bit of letters in a BLT. Yeah, that is fact, Alice. It's kind of like a few years ago, you know, the government wanted to, or the English government, wanted to make protests illegal. You know, oh, we don't want people protesting. It's damaging to the economy. It clogs our cities up, and the funny thing is now, people don't want to go into the cities anymore because they've got stupid ULEZ charges that people can't afford. So they're really shooting themselves in the foot, and people hopefully start getting fed up with it. They really do. Government are busy legislating so you can't protest outside government buildings or their houses, and making protests even less effective. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was a kid, so I grew up on a council estate, and they were going to demolish our entire estate. Kind of a cleansing of families that were kind of a problem, because the houses were top notch, and in fact, some of the houses that are still standing are in better condition than the new houses that they built 10 years ago. So, kind of gives away what we all thought at the time, and we protest, and then no, you can't protest here. This is the house of so and so. This, well, we know that that's why we're here. But then what they do is they put government buildings now in places that can be sectioned off where people can't reach. I mean, you try and walk into any town hall now in the country, and you'll be told public can't come in here. They can. It's a public building. But now they've got it down to streamed, and that, yes, it's a public building, but we're not welcoming the public in here. And it's one of the reasons why council meetings up and down the country tend to never get any members of the public in. So any council meeting, members of the public can turn up. In some of them they can speak. In others, they can listen, take notes, tell everybody else that they've seen before the council can put out press releases and stuff. But nobody turns up. Like it says exactly. I have friends en route to Cardiff as we speak. Oh, great. Hopefully they'll see Mr. Nerd in motion. Just trying to see where Jim's coming from. Still a little way out. Time for me a drink. Let me just crack this can off. Not sure the brand up there. I'm not promoting sugary drinks. So let's have a little look again on Twitter like I did earlier. See if anything's been said over on that platform. So we have Wales Online that has put up that photo of the current scene going into Cardiff. So there's definitely tractors. Cardiff, where farmers have blocked and closed part of the A4232 as a stage of protest. That's the current situation. And there's another photo of the current gathering that is starting in Cardiff, which looks to be a few more people than it was earlier when we checked in. So I'll go back to that again in 10 minutes and see what's what. G'day, Sam. How you doing, mate? Hope you're well. People only notice when it starts affecting them. Yeah. As I was saying, Joy, you know, as soon as it comes down to livelihoods and being impacted, and you know, some of these guys, if they don't go with the government could end up taking their land and saying, well, to meet our zero carbon, it's just a necessary measure. Yeah, boy, says Sammy. Oh, Luke John also. Twice in 1 week, Sammy. I'll also be live with another coffee time on Sunday as well, so kind of like a bus this week. We wait and 3 come along, but then it'll be too late. It's well. Yeah, I think these are kind of the farmers are kind of looking to make it go fully. I mean, this is kind of why the government say we don't want illegal protests, and what they mean by illegal is we don't want people protesting without telling us first, because we want to get a handle on it. So they could block motorways up, like today, by the looks of it, full of tractors, so that they don't get into the city centre or into Cardiff Bay, which is where, you know, if you really want to protest and get in there, that's kind of what you do. But that's where the government have kind of sent us in this country, the direction. Joy says, oh yeah, Alice, end of the day, this is just a last ditch effort. The irreversible effort has already happened. Joy also says, this is why you guys need a second amendment. We don't, Joy, we just need a much more sensible government in charge. I mean, this is the Welsh government, so the leading group of the Welsh government is the opposition party of national government, English government, basically. Am I allowed to say the word English? I don't know. Who knows these days? Sammy says, I'm going live with a Piney Boy review in about half hour. Oh, nice one, Sammy. Piney Viola. Don't know where that came from. I heard the Cardiff police were shocked that people were coming into Wales. No one's ever done that before. I have to say though, Joey, I love Wales. I really do. It's got just this charm, and I don't know if it's like accent related, because I really love the Welsh accent. Like proper Welsh accent, not the Bertha Tidwell, where the child's from Hereford type accent, but the proper Welsh accent is fantastic. Let's see how John's getting on. John's still battling the weather. I mean, this is the one thing that kind of in the UK when you do want to protest is the weather. And like I said, we know it rains, but whether or not you want to stand around in the rain kind of puts you off if you want to protest or not. Because let's face it, a lot of people now aren't hard-headed enough. Can I say that? Probably not. I don't know if that's just a generational thing. Let's have a look on.
We just saw the first so far there's no food sign on the bridge. So we're getting close.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me, John, but you should soon be coming up to a lot of tractors that are all parked on the side of the motorway.
Oh, police van on the bridge. So that's the, what is that, the 7th police vehicle I've seen. CCTV, this one. I wonder if they're watching the live stream.
If they are, put the donut down and get some work done. There's criminals to go and catch. So, Wales Online. Let's just go through some of their tweets. So there's heavy-duty police barriers up in Cardiff Bay. So they really are restricting what's going on. Farmers have had enough. James Price, a beef and sheep farmer from Abergavenny, says it would mean a massive loss of income. I have 2 young daughters. I'd like them to have a chance to farm in the future. I've got to do this because the Welsh government won't listen to us. As reported by Wales Online, I will say that. Protests at Senate rarely, if ever, at this get to that scale. But numbers are growing. And there we have a second photo of tractors and people out stood outside gathering, chatting. I presume police won't let them through. And all that's come from Wales Online. Just 60 to go then if you want to spot them all. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so, you know, tell us if you're protesting. We're going to protest. I mean, funny enough, how many people regularly would see a cop car or cop van drive down their road? Never. You would never see them. We haven't got the officers to be able to police. You put a protest on, and before you know it, everyone's a copper. They've got all the resources that they could ever wish for. And then they come to us in our council tax with their precepts and saying, well, we'd like to increase it. because we can't afford it. Well, that's just. I've got a gripe about paying for the police precept, but that's a story for another day, I suppose.
Here we go. We're coming off now, just literally the turn up for Cardiff centre. Okay. Mercedes sat nav is a bit laggy, so I'm just trying to work out. I've got to do this manoeuvre first, and then it'll tell me how far we've got to get to the main place. We are 3.9 miles outside of it now. So what I'll try and do, Luke, shall I do like it? You'll have to nod because I can't hear you, or say no, but when I get close, I'll do like a drive round first so we can see what's there.
Yep.
Yeah, cool, right.
You guys can have some
another
of
police car with the blue lights on them as I was talking to you. That takes it up to 8 now, isn't it?
Yep. Apparently, John, another 6-0 to go. Some of our cops, we have way too many. The states, well, you need them all, Joey. Yeah, they told them they could protest, but couldn't have tractors, so I'm guessing they've stopped all tractors. Yeah, which kind of takes away from the protest. You know, if you want to protest, clog the streets up. Clog it up, then when people have had enough, and they all start whinging and complaining, and the government sat there looking like fools, that's a protest. But exactly, Joey. Protests that follow the rules are just gatherings. Just been driving away. There's so many police across the whole Cardiff today. Yeah, indeed, Ali Wongster. I says, yeah. So I was just saying I counted 67 right runs on walking to work. Police are all parked on the sides of the roads. Yeah, and like I said, you know, how many people? I think I can probably one in the last year I've seen drive down my road and through my estate. Never see them. Never see them. Luckily, my restaurant is on Albany Road, so I'm in the clear.
So what have they done with all the tractors? I haven't seen a single tractor yet.
They've stopped them all on the motorway, John.
Oh, you're joking?
No, so the A4323 or 232 has about 200 tractors parked on it.
What I'll do, we'll have a quick look around here, see what's going on, and then if that's the A432,
yeah,
I'll have a look on the old map and see how far out that is.
Yeah,
and
A423.
Maybe I could go and actually see those, because no doubt the mainstream media is probably, my guess is, not really saying much about this.
So I don't know if you can see my little thing there, John, but that's from the Mail Online. Plenty of parked up.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
So they've stopped quite a few from getting in. Apparently, outside the Senate, they've put up huge barriers, riot barriers.
Wow. This is insane. I think they're terrified after Brussels got a lot of poo slung at them.
It would just be leaks in Wales. You have a leak.
Drakeford's done his classic. I think I'm going to call it the Trudeau, which is when people come to talk to you and protest, you run away and hide. Maybe he sat in his shed.
Yeah, I mean, Joey pointed a good thing out, that if this is a legal protest, then it's just a gathering. It's not a protest.
Crazy. All right, we're 2.6 miles out of the centre. I wonder how close I can get in, or whether I can at all.
Well, Alice, who works in the centre, said she counted 67 police vehicles this morning.
67?
Yeah, on a way into work. They're all parked down the side of the road.
Oh my word. There were about, well, I've seen quite a few. I think I've seen 8 on the way in. And one of them, worryingly, on the bridge is just like a surveillance thing. It's like the flipping Stasi, I tell you.
Yeah. I mean, funny enough, Disco's just said he sees cop cars every day, but they're parked at the chicken shop at the end of the road.
Yeah,
On the lunch break.
Same in Yorkshire. They're pretty chilled, most of them. It must be difficult if you're a police officer to not feel conflicted about some of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like we were saying, you know, you never see any police, but you say there's a protest going to happen, and they are all there. Like, they've got resources that are, like, unbelievable. And, I mean, I'm from Cleveland. Our police force only do TV programs these days, so, you know, they don't do any real policing.
It's funny, though, we've got all this surveillance and stuff, but it doesn't seem to stop a lot of the crime. That's the problem.
No. Technology, John.
Definitely a love-hate thing I've got for technology. I love it, but then I think it's our biggest potential risk is technology.
You know, I know Stockton Council have a camera on the high street, and it can tell you can be sat on Rosebery Topping, which is a good 20 mile away, and it can zoom in and tell you what packet of crisps you're eating. But yeah, they can't see any crime on the high street. Amazing.
That's crazy. Crazy. There's more cameras. There's another big one here. I mean, yeah, we are the most spied on nation, I guess, but it's all right whilst it's in the power of the right people.
Joey says, show us the sheep they give you when you went into Wales. John's sheep's in the boot, Joey.
I haven't seen a single sheep yet, not one.
Says maybe, but they've been brainwashed into it. They got to lose the empathy, otherwise they can't handle the job for long. That's in reference to the police.
We're getting closer now.
Yes, Joey, Cleveland and the Hills.
I've not done too bad. I've got down here on a third of a tank.
And I haven't had a waffle on for too long.
I just want to see what's going on. Part of me wants to go out and give those guys on the motorway a voice, but it's whether I can get anywhere near those guys who are pulled up, because the police might not let me go in.
Yeah. So there's quite a lot of people outside of the Senate, and what they're saying is there's quite a lot of coaches pulling up with people on.
Just what?
There's quite a lot of coaches with people on, with farmers on for the protest. So there's quite a lot of coaches pulling up. So I think you're going to be in the middle of quite a big protest when you finally get there, John. Oh, currently lost John.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'll just pull up in the middle and park.
Disco says, please don't feel conflicted. They're all brainwashed at Hendon, etc., and believe whatever they're doing is right, so no one else. Got a point there, Disco. Simon Soros, good afternoon, lads. Good afternoon to you, sir. Joey says, the entirety of the British Isles government needs to be reread what multiculturalism actually means. Like, it doesn't mean destroy existing culture. I mean, this is farming culture, Joey, which is kind of its own thing. I mean, I'm quite lucky, and so is John, that we live in Yorkshire, which is the biggest county in England, and we've got quite a lot of farmland around us. So even though you don't live on a farm in Yorkshire, you still know and get the feel for it.
I'm in the wrong blooming lane. I'm meant to be right over on the left-hand side, and I'm right over on the right-hand side. Now, can I pass that bus lane without getting a ticket? Oh, fart nugget.
Get a ticket, put it down as a business expenditure.
This is on me, not on any of my companies. This is me personally paying for this.
YouTube needs to pay more. That's all I'm saying. Reese Hart comes in. Hello, guys. Hope you're well. What is happening in Wales? Sorry, I am clueless at times. So what's happening today in Cardiff Bay, Reese, is that farmers from all over Wales are staging a protest. The government are trying to push through a new sustainability framework, and what it does is it impacts a lot of the farmers and the land, and trying to meet zero carbon targets and green goals and that type of thing. So this is kind of the farmers pushing back a little bit and saying, you know, we go along with a lot of the sustainability framework, but you need to do something for us as well. You know, you need to support us a bit more. And as I was saying earlier, it's kind of, you see the government's push at farmers and saying you're not doing enough to meet green targets. They are all doing it. Yet they say nothing when it comes to planning. So you could build 1,000 houses on a farmer's field, no mandate at all for a single tree to be planted. But yet you'll see the government push back on farmers and say you need to give up land to meet our targets. It's a bit of a grey area between it all, but nice to see that they're actually finally pushing back.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's getting intense here.
Like our soul says, just
it's telling me to turn left, but can I fucking get down there? Oh, I mean, these bus lanes, they start and stop everywhere. I hope I'm not getting a ticket. Can I go left down here? I can.
Lost Our Soul
I wonder
says
if it's worth going on foot from here.
It
I had a
could be,
very
mate.
tense moment there with 2 police bikes next to me.
Yeah, it could be. Find a parking space, claim it.
Right. There is a space there. But is that loading? What's it say? There's a few spaces around there. No loading at any time there. What are these? Loading bays, no return. Come on, Audi TT, out my way, thank you.
Let me just get back
What
to
it
some
might be,
comments.
Luke, I'll go find something to park. I'll leave you on the stream and then I'll come back in.
Yep, not a problem, mate.
What's this? That's if I've got electric, which I haven't. Disabled. There's a lot of disabled people around here. Every space is disabled.
Rock on disability cards.
That's paint machine. That's another electric. Come on, there's got to be space. We'll try and access it from the other side instead. Eh?
Was that an electric Porsche pulling out in front of you there, John?
It was just a Porsche of some description. Have you
I
seen
couldn't hear an
the?
engine, so I thought.
Was it Mark McCann's video on Porsche and trying to buy a Porsche? It's crazy.
Let's get back to comments. Bonkers Beast says, "Stop destroying our wildlife or lose your grants." It's kind of the opposite. Farmers aren't destroying habitat for wildlife. Kind of government is. Governments are allowing people to build properties that, just think of it this way. So you're in a valley, you take away the farmer's field, you build houses, you don't plant any trees, water runoff floods everything in the bottom of the valley. What happens is habitat, everything gets killed off. Who gets blamed? The farmers that are further up in the valleys for not planting trees. It's that concept. So that's probably like the easiest way I could describe that. NCPS only real parking in Cardiff.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, we might have to do that. I'm trying to get it from another angle, but yeah, it's trying to take me around the outside. Around the outside, around the outside.
I suppose when you've got somebody that works in Cardiff city centre in your chat, it's quite useful. Thank you, Alice.
This is definitely not ULEZ, this car. Oh, it might be, Euro 5 something. Right, what's this say? Pedestrian zone. Between.
Ooh, that was a
I
lovely
don't know if I
crossing you
can
went
go down
over.
there. No, I can't. Not unless I drive through bollards. I'm not doing that. Oh, look, trans flags all over the road. How lovely. Let's have a look.
But if I was saying earlier, yeah, go for it, John. Try and find somewhere, John. Let's.
I will. think we're coming in at a different angle. There's a big stadium there. That's massive.
I think that's the municipality building stadium where the rugby's held.
NCP, there we go. I'm 1.5 miles out. I'm going to have to do some walking though. Part of me wants to see if I can get close just to 9.95 to park here. Flipping stroll on. Well, we'll give it a go, eh? Right, I'm going to park up. I'm going to come out of the live stream as soon as I park. And then I'll get ready on foot and then I'll pop in.
Yep, no problem.
Wow, this is tight. Sharp, mate. I can actually get in here. Oh, I just caught my alloy. Flipping Nora. Yeah, I know. Oh, what?
I know one person who'll be really excited right now, and that's Captain Car Park.
He would be loving it. Flipping Nora, this place is. This was clearly made for the 70s. Right, I'm just going to put myself out of here. You're in charge.
Right, man. Yeah, on large. Larger than life. Unbelievable. Reese Hart says, couldn't agree more. I live in a place called Skipton in North York. I know Skipton very well, Reese. I live just up the road. Farmers up here always getting restrictions put on them, new goals and standards to meet. So they're struggling. Yeah. And it always seems to be farmers, whenever it comes to anything environmental or green policy, it's kind of farmers need to be doing more. And it's kind of not in their remit. They're farmers. They're supposed to give us food. You know, I don't want to get too political on John's channel because I reckon John will say quite a bit as well when he gets into it. Discusses, I thought John would have just signed his house and got the train in. Barry's a little bit away from Cardiff, and with the roads, I think it's on the other side as well, where all the tractors have been stopped on the motorway. Disco. But let's jump back onto the world of Twitter and see if there's any updates. Welsh farmers. Scrumpy Jack fan, somebody called Craig, says literally thousands of Welsh farmers protesting at the Welsh Senate, and still more coaches coming. Hundreds of tractors parked up across the flyover by Viridor. 4 riot vans parked outside Bills and Weatherspoons in the bay. No pics as I'm driving. Someone's put Bruce Brogan. There's only a Welsh speaker in on the day of the huge farmers' protest. Should be fun. So no farmers, no food. Huge numbers of farmers gathered outside the Welsh Assembly. Kind of. At the moment, I can't actually see my phone because of chat on the screen. So that's kind of the current situation at the minute. So That was uploaded a few minutes ago, 5 minutes ago. So as I said, people can actually follow No Farmers, No Food on there. Let's see. There was a video that I could play. See if I can find it. Can't find the one that I did have on. I was going to send it to John. That may take a little bit of looking at. See if I can. See if I can find it. Today. Can't find that one. The Welsh Mail Online hasn't updated anything for a while, but we should be getting there. For those that are just joining, I'm not John. I'm not Nerd in Motion. He's currently parking up, and he's going to hit us back when he gets out of that multi-story car park that he's currently in the centre of Cardiff. John's actually drove down to Cardiff to join in with the Welsh farmers' protest that has come about due to the Welsh government and their inability to actually just do anything. Pretty much the same as all of our governments all around the world. So that's what John's up to today. And he'll be back soon probably to tell you more about that. I'm just filming a little bit, doing all the waffling while he was driving. But my name's Luke John. I've got a channel called Luke John. Very adventurous. So yeah, I'm just kind of filibustering for John, and if you're watching, drop something in chat. What's your thoughts on farming? Do you support zero carbon? What's your thoughts on going green and the future? I mean, I kind of live in a location which is going for the first green region, as it were. So like just in like the last month, we've agreed a nuclear power station, the first private power station within the UK. Carbon capture storage, where they basically store carbon under the seabed. Kind of like in vaults under there that pump it down, that fill up these huge voids and allow it to kind of recycle that way. Don't think that's the best. We've got hydrogen plants that are currently under construction. Hydrogen's another energy source which is a little bit controversial because it's not entirely clean, or as clean as what they make out it to be. So yeah, can any green energy really be fully green? I mean, it's just throw something over. Like we do eat here in the UK. We're an island nation. How come none of our governments have ever looked into tidal power? The amount of estuaries we have, the amount of barrages we have. I've got one just next to me called the Tees Barrage. And they've got huge kind of screws, Archimedes screws. So when the water goes over the turn, they produce electric. Why hasn't that been approved kind of elsewhere? But since we're talking about farming and planting trees, and there's a lot our government could do. They just want our farmers to do it, which kind of sucks. Says me currently sat here with a Nepalese woolen throw on. The age of innovation, I suppose. Let's just see. So Jim Ferguson, who's a former parliamentary candidate with the party, Brexit Party. The Welsh government has embraced policies that will harm farmers even more. So, kind of what we're all here about. As says, what's needed is massive reduction in consumption of everything, but governments don't want to say that. Trying to switch to renewable while continuing consuming at the rate we do is impossible. Yeah. And I mean, I mentioned it a little bit early on, and I mentioned about supermarkets and how we all have to play our little part in it as well. So, and you'll only get it now in like small villages. You'll get your village pub, your shop, and then usually like you'll get your butcher, your independent butcher, your baker. Sadly, no candlestick makers because they're just too cheap to buy in from elsewhere. But they've kind of gone. But what I find is I love going to the farmers markets. I really do. And the cost, maybe 5-6 years ago, there was a bit of a difference between supermarket and local. Well, that's kind of gone at the minute. When you can pick up 3 very good packs of sausages, say 6 sausages in a pack, pick up 3 for £10. Well, them sausages are much bigger. The local, you support local, and what supermarkets got? They might go and say, well, you can have 3 packets of Hex sausages for £9. That's our deal of the week. And it's not that much more to support local anymore. So, and if more of us do that and move that way, then surely we start to get a little bit of this wave or this little tidal of, supermarkets. We look after the land more. I mean, for me, I never go to the supermarket. I hate supermarkets with a passion. In fact, I can't remember the last time I was in a supermarket. Probably November last year. Starting November last year, I think was the last time I went into a supermarket. Yeah, I just don't see the need for supermarkets, to be honest. Hey up, brothers, Mr. Evans. This is where the cool kids hang out. No, can't be. Luke's here. Yeah, well, cool kid. I'm just waiting for John to get back. I've currently hijacked his stream. In fact, he just needed someone to waffle on while he was driving for an hour and a half. So it was like, Luke's there. He can do the job. He's used to talking nonsense for a bit, so kind of where we are at the minute. I just hope John hasn't got too many fines for driving down bus lanes. Who knows? But yeah, does anybody else go to their local farmers market or local makers markets? Or I mean, I know like, so like, there's a few bits like I might use Amazon for, but in the whole, it's like just very minuscule things. You know, if I can't get it local or a little bit out my way. Yeah, sorry, I said consume, but I didn't mean just food. Like, we won't be able to have an electric car, gonna have less cars overall. Yeah, I was going to get round to that, but the expert on motors is currently parking up and getting out of the car park. I mean, so I'll say where I am on electric cars. I see what they're doing, and I understand it. If it's for city living and you use your car to go from A to B, then fine, not a problem. The technology is not there for long distance, although I would say now that some of these vehicles can get like, 200 mile or whatever, usually you would stop and have a little break anyway, or at least we do as a family. Stop off the services, toilet break, grab something to eat, something to drink, and you kind of make it part of just traveling. Price wise, needs to come down a hell of a lot, and the only way that's going to happen is, sadly, is if government subsidizes electric vehicles to make them cheaper. But then the argument will be those that don't like electric or those that don't agree with using government to make things cheaper, spend our taxes, we pay in this, that, and the other. Yeah, but it's kind of, I understand it. Will the government reach the target that they set out? No. It's kind of like the never on a catalogue. You get something out, you take it out, and you pay £2 over 60 whatever weeks or 80 weeks, or I don't know what the thing is these days, but kind of like on the never. It's just a goal that's never really going to happen, but it sounds good during elections. Brad says can't stand driving in city centres, absolute nightmare. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like when cars were getting bigger and motors were getting bigger. Everyone was saying, "Oh, bigger the better," and now where everywhere's getting built up, it's like, actually, the car's too big now to drive around the city. Leave it to the farmers. Then farmers get them, and then obviously they get stolen. So, Brad says, I've got to be honest, I only ever shop in supermarkets. Something I should look at changing, to be fair. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be preaching to anyone, Brad, but, I mean, so like for me, I used to eat meat 7 days a week. I'm now down to eating meat maybe 2-3 days at the most. I'd just change your diet, change your lifestyle, that type of thing. It's just kind of, go with the flow. But you get so much more choice in your local butchers than you do a supermarket. You know, it's kind of, well, look, I mean, butchers now are closing faster than pubs. You know, that's the way you've got to look at it now, and it's, we all know when our favourite pub closed down how gutted we are, but how many people think that when the local butcher goes, it's only afterwards you think, you know what, should be a local butcher where we can get X, Y, and Z, and then it's like, well, there was, but nobody used it because they went for 50 pence cheaper in the supermarket. That's kind of where I'm at. Point blank, yeah, refuse to use Amazon. I said, yeah, we've had this discussion before. Just go. Yeah, I get it. Like I said, it's only things that I can't get my hand on. Got a little stall here on the farm that sells veg in season, honey and eggs. Regularly get lunch from the cafe, all made on site. Sausage rolls, absolute top notch. Yeah, and for me, that's kind of where farmers need to adapt and maybe get out that little box a bit of just being, or all I am is a farmer. It's like, actually, you've got so much potential. You know, you kind of look at what Jeremy Clarkson's done with Diddley Squat Farm. You know, if you've got a product that people want, people will travel for it. You know, and it's kind of, you set up a farm shop that is the best of everything that you do on that farm, people will travel. It's a given, because that's the type of creature we are. You know, we kind of want to try and new things, and we want to really see what's out there. So that's the way to do it. I'm not saying everybody turn into Jeremy Clarkson, by the way, because that would be a terrible thing. I would say is, you're totally right, but even if they do get electric cars to work long distance, make them affordable. My point is, it's still not sustainable if you're thinking every person who's got petrol can switch. Yeah, like I was saying, you know, that's got to be the government. The government has to do that. They've got to make the change for us, I think, if that's the way they want to do it. I mean, for me, you know, you're never going to get an electric car better than a Ford Capri or a Jaguar or a Lotus Elite or something. You know, the smell, the feel, the noise. You know, it's kind of what irritated me about Formula One, because I'm a huge Formula One fan. And then when they changed kind of the engines and everything, and it kind of took away from it. I mean, I'm a bring back refueling in Formula One type of guy, so yeah, I get that. Like, there ain't enough cobalt and other bits needed, hugely intensive for even get materials you need. Won't be possible to replace every car. Yeah, true. I mean, you know, it's kind of like what they're doing with these ULEZ zones. You know, or you can only have a vehicle that's a Euro, is it 6 or Euro 5 or something? I'm not totally up to date with every ULEZ around the country that's going that way at the minute. But it's kind of like, you bring in a policy like that, then people don't have them vehicles, they shop elsewhere. So then what happens is, everything within that zone gets impacted in one way or the other. Now, if you do that over the entire country, then it's just going to be pandemonium for businesses, and the only ones that'll miss out is small business, whatever that may be. You know, I mean, we've got a hardware store that's been there since the 1940s. They're closing in a few weeks because nobody goes in for hardware, but he sells a lot of it online. So he's like, well, I no longer need to keep a shop open because I can just have all this stored in the garage and send it out. I mean, public transport. Should public transport all be green energy? Yeah. Should council vehicles all be green? Well, if they want us to move over to it, then yeah, they should. But then what you see councils now do is, it costs a little bit too much. Or what we'll do is we'll increase council tax to pay to subsidise us for it. So there's one here saying, "Who's from the crowd as a dairy farmer in NFU, Cymru Deputy President Abby Reader mentions farmers needing to meet net zero targets." And it's kind of, that's one of the issues. They're being told that they have to meet it, and it's like them specifically. Farmers need to meet net zero. Well, why is it the farmer's responsibility? It's not. Just trying to find over on Twitter. You kind of got to filter out some of the tweets and stuff. But yeah, there is, according to this, why quite a few of them now. There's quite a few thousand. There's thousands of people outside the Senate. So which is a great thing. Disco says lunch day is a full roast dinner done in the pizza oven, apparently. Nice. What meat is it though, Disco? Beef, lamb, chicken, turkey. I do love a roast beef dinner. That's like Sunday's my main day of the week for eating meat. It's usually like beef, pork, and chicken all at the same time. Kind of get like my week's worth. It's an absolute joke to mind that farmers meet net zero when they are not. Yeah, exactly. And to stand up at a protest to say it as well is kind of a slap in the face to everyone that's actually made the effort to get out and protest. Must have took John hours to drive all the way there from his absolute mission. Yeah, I mean, funny enough, Brad, he's left me longer up here than it took him to drive there. So I don't know if he's like fell down a pothole or into the bay. Who knows? I'll say it would be like telling Africa they need to meet net zero while USA carries on in it. Yeah. It's the same one when we get about global food shortages, and there is so much land around the globe where food could be produced. I mean, I've got this thing with Africa where many communities in rural Africa don't have access to water. And then you see young children carrying buckets of water on the head. And then the next story you read is that Australia are building a $2.1 billion salt water to drinking water facility. So there's means and resources, but whether or not they actually want to put the resources into really doing something, then I think global shared water would be a good thing for some of, especially you lot in Tamworth. Brad's favourite mate's the Spud man. He's in Tamworth. Actually, I better not say Spuds. It'll bring our friend Thomas back into the chat probably. But it's kind of like, you know, I'll mention Thomas. Thomas is a farmer, but he also goes to work at I think it's a gas station, in a little shop, you know, and it's kind of, shouldn't really need to, but beef, I think, appropriately enough. Going to find out. It's been an experience listening to you sometimes while cleaning out the brewery kettle. Catch us later. Cheers, Disco. Enjoy your dinner, mate. A roast dinner in a pizza oven. There's one for Rob from Bramall Does. There's one for him to do. Look at that, he's got that uni or the canoe. I really don't have a clue why John is. There we go.
Why can't I hear you?
I have Alice, it's Luke John, or Mr. Luke John.
I can't hear you. That's really weird. Why is that?
People in chat. People in chat
I hate
don't
StreamYard sometimes. It's so annoying. Right. I am literally half a mile on foot, 15 minutes. I don't know why I can't hear you. What about now? Say something. There we go.
Oh, you can now.
Yeah. It's quite wet.
So you've missed a bit of it, John. So farmers have been booing because they've been told that they should be meeting net zero target. Yeah.
Right.
And that was from a dairy farmer and the NFU Cymru deputy president, Abby Reader, saying farmers need to meet net zero targets. So.
So what's happened? Are they still up there, or?
Yeah, and growing in numbers every minute. So
nice. I'm very, very wet. So in retrospect, I should have really got a car park space that was closer. I am flipping nowhere near. So I'm going to get a taxi back to the car when I get there, when I've finished. Otherwise, I'm going to be completely wet through. But hey ho, we're taking one for the team.
Yeah. And another one said a lot of anger that First Minister Mark Drakeford is in Brussels and not in Cardiff today. So that's the feeling on the street, John.
That doesn't surprise me. That's their MO, isn't it? You know, when things get a bit dicey and people are upset, this is how we've ended up so disconnected from from the people that are in charge, the people on the street and the working person. We're so disconnected. You know, they don't want to. I mean, I'm not a big Rishi fan, as you well know.
But at least he came out and spoke to the farmers the other day. He didn't have to, but he did. And here we are. And he's acting like a dictator. He's just doing a runner. As soon as the people get upset, surely he could talk to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it that bad to talk to the people that are upset?
I mean, this is kind of one of the things at the minute. So you've got, obviously, in Wales, Labour is in power with the Cymru. But what you find with Labour across the board, and it's not a big political statement, is they're quiet on everything. So if they don't have a voice on anything, then nobody can pick them out and say, well, you support this, you don't support this, you've said this, you haven't said that. So they're kind of staying quiet across the whole board. And going to Brussels, Keir Starmer was there a few days ago. Now Drakeford. Oh, this is a very uncanny angle. The nerd in motion.
I'm getting wetter and wetter by the minute. And I've got another 15 minute walk. Yeah, and the only thing is, Drakeford did say in that statement, did you see the one where he stood there and he said, farmers will give, up for wildlife. They will give for the environment. And just like we're totally, demanding it. Do you see that?
Yeah. And I think some of that saying, will this, well, they're already doing it. And they're doing more than what they should be doing. A lot of them, so...
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where the argument of wildlife is in this, because I know we're constantly, we've got to do this and we've got to go for net zero and we've got to... What's China doing?
Yep.
What's Russia doing? You know what I mean? Is America really doing it? I can tell you now, when I was in New York, I was like, I'm never washing a yogurt pot up again. The amount of waste that they produce is unreal. And we're nowhere near that. We're this tiny little island, and it's like, I just think it sounds nice, and I love wildlife and all that. I genuinely do. But it's become a tax and a way to make money. It's become, it's a control thing, I think, personally.
It's kind of like over here you can get fined for not doing your recycling, but you go to Pakistan or India and every mountain's made of plastic and just heaps and heaps of everything, and you think, yeah, and they'll charge me for putting a tin in the wrong bin.
I know.
And you think,
it's just nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. I can't imagine the Greeks are following this word verbatim, or the Italians, or the Spanish.
Yeah.
So,
but the Spanish have to, because they have to keep supplying us with tomatoes. Because if McDonald's can't put tomatoes in their burgers, actually McDonald's have took tomatoes out of their burgers now, so that's not really a big issue.
Oh man, I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I didn't tighten my left boot properly, and now my heel is rubbing.
I got a McDonald's. Other fast foods places are available, but I got one with my nephew the other day, and I said, "Well, there used to be tomatoes in these." He said, "Oh, they don't put tomatoes in them anymore." I was like, "What? Can't get them," he said. And he's 8. Can't get. Well, they can't get tomatoes cheap enough. That's probably what he means.
Ah, yeah, cheap enough.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the whole egg thing. About eggs. The farmers that have these eggs, they do all the thing. And when the food prices went up, Sainsbury's paid, I think was it like 15 20 pence more for the same amount of for a punnet of, is punnet the right word for eggs?
Yeah.
A crate of eggs. And then you get all that, and then all of a sudden you've got them an extra £1.50 in the shop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, so where I am, so I can get 12 free-range eggs for £2.29 in a box.
Yeah.
But I can actually go to the farm where their eggs come from and buy a tray of 30 free-range eggs for £3.20.
Well, yeah. I know. That's the madness of it, isn't it? Right, where am I going now? I think I'm going straight on. There's police vans. Oh, here we go. That looks something like. And there's barriers. Is this where I'm meant to be? That building there? National Centre. Or am I meant to be going down there?
So the Senate's like a big red building, but you've got a modern building in front of it.
Right,
I think last time I was in Cardiff.
It's saying it's down there. Let's go down there. There are a few. Does it disappear when I change my screen by any chance?
Yeah, we lose your audio.
What was I saying? I was in traffic and there were two police motorbikes right next to me, and I'm thinking, are they going to tell me off for filming? And they did look, but because it was on the passenger side, it's in a holder. I'm not touching it, and the screen's facing away from me, so I can't see it. They didn't bother. They definitely looked at it though. But I had one of those squeaky bum moments.
Like driving down a bus lane.
Oh, yeah. Mate, do you know what it is about bus lane? I'm so sick of getting bus lane tickets. Steve got one in, where was he? In Manchester. And all it was, he moved over the line to let an ambulance through, and his tyre went on the white line. And we got a, 60 quid fine.
Yeah. Well, we got a fine in Newcastle on the day that they changed everything to a one-way system, new bus lane type thing. But we got our money back because they forgot to tell people that they were all new bus lanes. So
the problem is with a lease vehicle, by the time it's all gone through, you're not making any money. Why is my memory in me right now? Surely you should know I'm live. I can hear people shouting over there, but I can't. Oh, they're just builders. Just builders. Mr. Pigeon. Gosh, my heel. I'm wearing Tim's as well.
See, don't wear your Tims, wear your Toms.
I'm surprised at it. I think it's more the sock than the boot. That's what probably. I'm definitely getting a taxi back because I'm soaked. And I forgot to bring my battery boost pack, but we've got a good, over 50% battery, so we're fine for the minute. So I'm only going to go here, have a look. We'll try and talk to a few people and see how they feel. And we shall then head back to the car and see if we can on the motorway and find these tractors.
Yeah. Sounds like a fun for you,
mate. Some grown up media. Somebody having a haircut. Stood up. Have you ever had your haircut stood up? What's that? Right. There's a big building in front of me, but it's not red. It's kind of rusty coloured. But ain't that? Ah, here they are. Found them.
That's it.
Right. Let me change my setup slightly. Let me try. Gosh, I nearly ended the stream then. That would have been bad, wouldn't it?
I've just still been talking to myself.
Hey?
I've just still been talking to myself. End screen. It's me. Still talking.
Right, let me swap the camera around. There we go. Is it covered in rain or are you right?
No, that's fine, mate.
Okay.
If you want, John, make my box smaller and then you can have yours much bigger.
All right. Okay. I'll try and, I don't know, I'll do it. More. First comment layout. There we go. Like that.
Yeah.
Did that
There
work?
you go. Yeah.
Perfect.
People can see yours much better.
I'll try and listen to you as well as we go. And then if you've got any questions, and if I can hear you, then we'll ask. So I'm hoping, wow, there's definitely a big old crowd. It's a beautiful spot.
Yeah. They spent millions and millions on Cardiff beer.
It's lovely. I'm getting a lot of funny looks from cops.
You're in a public space. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, perfectly acceptable.
And in fact, how and we as farmers deserve better. This is a memory that can never be undertaken. And it's not good enough. Being shut up to discuss
Live on YouTube.
Sorry, you. Oh, sorry. I didn't know you were here.
Yeah, man.
Oh, sorry, man. Well, I came here last night. Mate, it's disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting.
I think for everybody, this is Jeff White's cars.
How you doing?
I'm like, it's like a bit of a YouTube hero car. Anyway.
Like most videos in the car.
This. So I had a brewery.
Yeah.
Or have a brewery.
Yeah. You're fine, you know. It's like,
yeah.
I'm trying to find somewhere to put my coffee cup. There's no bins. There's nothing. Someone's going to drop a bomb.
It's true. But yeah,
You had a brewery.
I couldn't say what I thought.
Yeah.
Because obviously I've got a business.
Yeah.
So I've since left that. I'm doing my HGV Class 1.
Yeah.
And now I can say what I want to say.
Yeah.
And I look at all this and I just think this is all about control of the people. That's all it is.
There's nothing else to it.
No.
They want to take complete control of the food supply.
Yep.
And they want to make sure that the only people providing this food are cultivates.
Yeah.
And all the fake food that they're pumping out of factories.
Yeah. And they're
Which will
growing.
have zero nutritional value at all.
Yeah.
So if you want to sit at home and have a barbecue and cook grass-fed organic steak, then you will not be allowed to, because they do not want you to have access to anything that empowers you.
Exactly. It is. It's that. It's stuff like just the car thing.
Yeah.
Like I did a video about EVs, and the issue is it's the politics that are attached to the vehicle, And then you've got companies like Toyota that have been privately owned for years and years that have come out and said, hey, this doesn't make any sense. And then they're like, oh, Toyota, really bad. Oh, they're an awful company. Oh, they're not.
This is why I do say to people, so I'm not anti-EV, right? And I even saw a lease deal on an EV the other day. It was like £179 down and £179 a month. And if you're paying £36 a month for your car tax, that's starting to look cheap. However, the difference is you cannot charge that car unless it's connected to your bank account. Whereas today on the way here, I went to the petrol station with no front number plate on and I paid cash. It's very different, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. Well, this is it. I bought an old Merc, an E-Class, an E220. It's done 113,000. It's main dealer service from brand new.
Yeah.
Paid £4,000 for it. Drove down here. It's done 46 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
I've had no problems with it. It's paid its debt on CO2 already.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll just keep that going.
Same as the X5, I mean, 222,000 miles. I mean, I'm not convinced it's better for the environment to replace that with a brand new one.
Oh, what a gen.
Sort of, it would be a pain.
Oh, what a
You
legend.
just can't imagine it's better for the environment to make a new one. And everybody says, I'm anti-EV. I'm anti all new cars. It's the same argument for all of them. Just keep an old one on the road.
Yeah.
Makes so much more sense.
Although you do need to get a new steering wheel for your X5. Everybody looks at the cover and goes,
I've got one. I went and bought a steering wheel cover. I was driving around with it. My hands were wet.
yeah.
It didn't feel right. Yeah. It's
No.
a talking point in the toilet.
It is. I used to many years, so I'm a vehicle technician by trade. And listen to that.
It's great, isn't it?
That's amazing. That's electric. You can't.
We're in the rain just to capture what's
It's
going on.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. There's a roar there. Yeah, sorry. I was a vehicle technician by trade.
Yeah.
And then obviously I've done other stuff. I've done software with tuning and all that kind of thing. And now I'm going into trucks.
Yeah.
But even then I could see the way cars were going. And they're do you remember the Ford Escort back in the day, the Mark 3 and 4? The whole point in that was that it wouldn't last, but they lasted way longer.
Yeah.
And then people actually started buying cars because they lasted.
Yeah.
And now we're in a place where cars are so infinitely complicated that they want you to just dump it after 3 years.
There's a distinct change. There's a distinct change. You take the old Volvos that I keep on from like the late 90s, 2000s. Those are forever cars.
Yeah.
They just don't go wrong. They will last forever. But the ones that came after, you can't necessarily say the same. The maintenance is more expensive, they're more complicated. And then when you get towards like 2010, it goes again. And then even more modern cars, they are not going to last.
No.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
So I keep advocating these late 90s, early 2000s cars because they do last forever.
And I think the problem is as well,
What was
like I've seen it in the
what was
brewing
the-
industry, the overreach within the government
Yeah.
on everything that you do.
Yeah.
Like every barrel that is outside a pub, the winner out of that is the government.
Yeah.
And
what
when
would
you
be
look at the motor trade, I feel like they've led the manufacturers of the garden path to fail, so that basically they can weaken that company's position.
Yeah.
And you know what they'll do? They'll be buying it through hedge funds in the background whilst the share value is low.
This is what I've been saying. It's about the deliberate collapse of industry. It's not, and you know, I was quite late to the party realising that. But that's shocking when you think brands like BMW that we've known forever are now in major trouble because they've been led down that path.
Yeah. It's mental. And you look at this with the farmers, it's just a disgrace.
Yeah.
I mean, we had somebody on here, came on the live stream as we were driving down.
Yeah.
And my friend Luke is on here. He's a legend. He's right there.
Yeah.
He feels very passionately about this as well. And somebody came on and just said, "Oh, stop destroying wildlife." And I'm like, I don't think that's a big enough argument.
You're destroying wildlife and you don't understand farming. There's a big difference between these gigantic, monocrop farms in the USA to the sort of stuff that they're doing here in Wales.
Yeah.
It's insane that people's perceptions are so wrong. And my worry is the powers that be will manage to convince all these people in the cities that don't engage their brains that, farmers destroy the land. We should leave the land barren to protect it. It's bollocks. It's Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, and it's important that we show up to stuff like this.
Exactly. And silly as it sounds, well, I think I've been shadow banned
Yeah.
So my channel went from, I did a couple of videos that were like 80,000.
Yeah.
Then I did a convoy that was going to the border in America.
Yeah.
I did 73,000 views, and then after that, any video I did barely make 100 now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't. That's not normal.
Pop me an email over, so I might be able to help you on some of that algorithm stuff as well, and I can give you some advice on my experience of it, because it's a mysterious beast.
Oh yeah.
And, I spent a long while, you know, going back. I think as well, you know, for anyone who's watching as well, I'll just explain this. During Corona, there were a lot of channels that were doing stuff that YouTube wanted to push. Like Lee's channel, he was doing travel. So YouTube were like, oh, this is great. Everyone sat at home, we'll push travel. Matt Armstrong's building cars on his driveway. YouTube goes, this is great. We'll push this out. I was ranting at my MP and moaning about lockdown and Corona. And my channel just bombed.
Yeah.
It took so long for mine to pick up.
Yeah. Well, I was sat during COVID. So the first day of the lockdown, we lost. We got investors. We broke even.
Yeah.
It was like amazing. That very month, we lost. I think it was like £6,000 worth of orders in the first day.
Yeah.
The following day, that doubled.
Yeah.
And then we stopped looking.
Yeah.
And then we were like, what do we do? So me and my wife started doing quizzes because we were worried about people that we knew, their mental health, somebody we knew. Sadly, somebody committed suicide, a young man, over his business because he didn't see any hope.
Enough people talk about suicide.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And so we started doing all of that. And then, but we were watching our business go down the pan. Very cool. And yeah, it was just going, oh no. I'll take mine off because I can't see because I've just rained into them. But yeah, it was just a mess. And to watch everything just go down the pan.
Yeah.
And I steered, with my help of the guys that I was working with, we steered it through. But it's left us in a terrible position. We lost 160 grand. Yeah. So it's cost.
I wrote a piece about this today because we're in a lockdown. You've got everybody one way or another, and I've not forgiven what's been done to us, and I don't think other people should either. It needs to be not forgotten, and it needs to be not forgiven.
Yeah, it's a disgrace. Yeah, and that's one thing that I feel really conned about is that I took the vaccine. I did, and I wish I didn't. I was trying to. I'm asthmatic. I'm thinking I'm not the healthiest person, and I took it, and I knew it wasn't right, but I did it anyway.
You're not alone in doing it.
No, I'm gutted. I'm gutted. I'm just so glad my kids weren't forced to take it. I think there would have been a lot of people that wouldn't have. I said to them at school, my kids, I was like, they ask you to take anything, do anything, say no.
Yeah.
And you like, get out there, come and get me.
We've had these conversations with my kids as well. There's a lot of stuff and strange stuff. Yeah, we got a letter from school the other day saying, oh, we're going to be measuring all the children in year 6. Really? Why? Oh, because we want to ensure that they're developing properly and we care about their health and well-being. Really? When have you ever cared about the health and well-being of the children? You didn't care about that when you were shutting school. So why now?
Yeah.
So I'm just suspicious of everything now.
No, I'm.
And I think maybe that's a good thing about Corona lockdown. Maybe it did make everybody suspicious.
Well, look at this. Look at this here. All these people, all their livelihoods have been affected. And they're here. They're suspicious. They've had enough.
There on a little tractor. Is that like terrorists or an extremist here?
No,
or these just normal people who care about what's going on?
They are. They're good people. They're hardworking. They're grafters, and they're here because they know what can happen down the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
the thing is, we have to play a bit of a game because I believe that there is a larger agenda behind all this, but we have to drip feed it to people bit by bit. You can't just storm into people and say, this is what's going on, this is what they want to do.
Yeah.
You got to let people know that bit by bit, these things are coming.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to go walk around the other side.
Thanks. That's good to see.
What people to subscribe?
The Nerd in Motion.
The Nerd in Motion.
That's me. Jeff buys cars. Go and check him out. Legend. See you later, buddy. Can't believe that, Luke. He's a legend. I watch him all the time.
Yep.
Right.
So do I, mate. Yeah, indeed, Alice. You know, it's not just the 10%; it's the extras on top of that. So,
yeah. Shall I try and get some of this? before I start running out of battery?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Hello everyone. I was asked to do this on Sunday, and it says in the agenda a farmer's story. But we're all farmers here, and we've all got different stories. And I have no more right to share mine than you out there in the crowd. So I will use this opportunity to convey what I think the crowd feels to the media, to the public, and to the Senate. So I'm a fifth generation farmer from Mid Wales. I'm farming sheep, cattle, and free range hens. And there's a couple of reasons I'm here. I've got a 2-year-old son sitting at home who loves every minute of being on the farm. And I am fighting for his future on that farm. I'm also here to make sure us farmers stick together and unite through this time of hardship. Regardless of who we are, where we come from, what we farm, or what we believe in. Now is the time to stick together. I'm very nervous, I'm just a farmer, so bear with me. I look around here in the crowd and you're all like me. You're just fighting for our right to produce food in Wales. These new schemes and incentives are getting pushed upon us to here for one thing and one thing only, to kill us off. And I say enough is enough. The government tell us we need to work better with nature and fight a climate crisis. So I parked in Adam Street and I've walked to the centre today through about 10 tonne of litter.
Yeah.
Farmers are the heart and soul of our local communities, and I, for one, am fed up of being treated like the villain. Where do the people thinking up these schemes think their food is going to come from when there's farms ravaged by TB and we're busy pruning trees?
So I have just put some pointers in
Not only
chat.
are we fighting for our farms, we're fighting for our communities, our local shops, our local schools, our markets, and everything in between. How many non-farmers are going to go to Winstay and CCF to keep them afloat? We've just had to listen to 4 politicians promise the world and try and get your support just for votes. Well, I challenge each and every one of you to actually stick to your promises, get out of the cycle, and do something. I got asked yesterday, is this a protest, a threat to the Welsh Government? And I had no idea how to answer. So I'll tell you this, Welsh Government, look at us all here today, together as one. There are thousands of us here fighting for the same thing, a common goal, to ensure our future in Wales farming. And if you don't start working with us, this is just the beginning.
Very clear message.
Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As I stand before you today, I am reminded of some famous words that seem apt in this, Welsh agriculture's darkest hour. We shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight on the Senedd steps. We shall fight in the supermarket aisles. We shall fight in the dairies. We shall fight in the auction marts. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
Welcome, MTV Laura.
Are the next generation farmers, and we are not prepared to be the last.
I'm going to try and get around the other side.
For centuries,
But you need a bit of fight and talk.
we have grown hard this country.
That's the way to do it.
Through the 2 world wars, through the Blitz, farmers saved us from starvation. Never asking for good thanks. Through the whirlwind of austerity, farmers kept food on our table and our shelves full. Never expecting a real free. Farmers are honest, hard-working, and consistent people who, by their very nature, really complain. Who become adversity every single day of their lives. They are pleased.
All these people, this is amazing. Yeah, we're on live on YouTube. I love it. Yeah, the banter. Thank you. Cheers. We got some mainstream media here. Wonder what they report. See if I can get them.
Our consultation. We are standing here today with no online quality. No idea. No idea.
And it kind of shows, you know, a good turnout despite of the weather. But I reckon if it wasn't raining, you could maybe increase that by 30–40%. Still be good numbers.
There's thousands, yeah. You just move around here.
And accelerating the green environment are admirable inspirations. But when these aims reduce our ability to produce food, we have completely lost our way. Russia is at war with Ukraine. Israel is at war with Gaza. And the Red Sea shipping routes are under constant siege. In such a volatile world, ladies and gentlemen, it is ludicrous for our government to take 20% of land out of production. We should be increasing our self-sufficiency, not sleepwalking into a food security crisis. Mr. Drakeford, you claim to be listening to us farmers. So why is it that the Sustainable Farming Scheme universal actions still contain 10% tree planting and 10% habitat creation? Perhaps I've not been paying attention, but it was my understanding that both of these policies were rejected by our industry from the outset. As an elected person holding a public office, why is it that you are going against the expertise of our farmers, against the will of the Welsh people who want to eat Welsh food, and ignoring the recommendations from our farming unions and your own political party in Westminster? Who exactly are you representing?
Yeah, the WEF.
So as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, that Labour,
a TV
in the
policy
English
that has
government,
squandered
are those
billions of
our
pounds with no
Wales.
disease eradication, and a sustainable farming scheme that is anything but sustainable. This government is launching a three-pronged attack on our industry. And as a young person in agriculture, I would like to know why. Why is it that farming should shoulder the full burden of environmental legislation, whilst other industries like water remain untouched? Why is it that food is not considered a public good when it is the very thing that keeps people alive?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Why is it that you know better than farmers how to manage the land that you've stewarded for generations? And why is it that you are not increasing the Welsh agriculture budget to deal with the mounting cost of regulation? Instead of answers, we are left with uncosted schemes and a complete lack of accountability. It is just not good enough. Welsh agriculture is already struggling to attract young people into our sector. And with policies like these, it's no surprise. Globally, Wales is at the forefront of sustainable food production. This should be a time of excitement and enthusiasm for farm businesses, with government supporting homegrown produce in domestic markets and negotiating new export deals. Our rainfall, our temperate climate, and our varied landscape give us the opportunity to grow a range of crops, whether it be for food or energy. Farmers hold the key to unlocking the green potential of this country. But we cannot do it with our hands tied behind our backs with red tape and no possibility to reinvest in new technology.
Technology when it comes to farming is a big government policy.
Targets are on the agenda of every government in every developed nation. But most leaders are sensible enough to realise that farmers need to be on side to deliver any real change. Without farmers standing in your corner, your target
stopped them all on the motorway.
The numbers on a piece of paper.
So on the motorway in Cardiff, going out of Cardiff, there's hundreds of tractors and trailers and.
To every politician sitting in Cardiff today, we are here and we are ready to work with you to build a better, greener Wales. One that champions our next generation of farmers. One that tackles the climate crisis using methods other than tree planting. And one that ensures safe, sustainable food production for years to come. It is time to put our heads together to create a Wales of opportunity. Because with agriculture and farmers leading the charge, our red dragon will be the envy of the world. Thank you.
Because you could see that people were engaged in, and then towards the end.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk today. I'm taking a slightly different approach to some of the speakers that we've heard already, as I'm not speaking as a farmer, despite being one. I'm here representing the DPJ Foundation. We're a mental health charity that works with the agricultural community across Wales. Our service, which we've already heard mentioned today, is we provide a 24/7 confidential telephone and text helpline for farmers and people in agriculture, we also provide professional counselling for those people who contact us who choose to have that. Alongside that, we provide mental health awareness training to help our industry spot the signs. And one of the things that we've been seeing more recently is an increase in the number of companies within agriculture coming to us saying, please, can you help train our staff? They're going out to farm and they're constantly finding themselves being a sounding board for farmers, and they feel ill-equipped to deal with some of the issues that they're seeing. So what I want to talk about is not how bad our industry is in terms of mental health, but some of the things that we are seeing. So when we do our training, and I was doing a session on Monday evening with a young farmers group, we always talk about the stress bucket. So this is an imaginary bucket that we all have, into which the daily stresses and strains that we encounter go in. So today's stress could be trying to get to Cardiff or standing in the rain. But it can also be the big things, the things like that TB test, the NVZ rules, trying to get one's head around how do we make this work for our farm. And of course, responding to the Sustainable Farming Scheme consultation. But what we find is that life is already busy. We're already picking up these stresses and strains. Farming is challenging at the best of times. When we've got these big issues that are already filling our bucket up, when the things like a really dire, wet February that makes farming really hard, or the worry of a poor lambing because of Schmallenberg or other viruses, these are the things that take somebody to fill their bucket. And when their bucket fills, that's when they hit breaking point. That's when they have no more resilience left. And we're a very resilient bunch of farmers. That's the point when they hit crisis.
Hello, you're right. Are you a farmer?
And what we're seeing,
Are you a farmer?
yeah, I mean, experiencing a very full bucket.
What would you like to talk to me for 2 minutes on YouTube? Okay, let me turn that around. So, I'm John. As a nerd in motion, I do YouTube, I do car stuff really. But this is in my wheelhouse because I did the Canadian truckers and yeah, so basically I saw this was going on, and that live stream, the Canadian one, really changed my mind about what was happening. And this is, they keep using the word consultation, but it's not a consultation if you dictate to somebody what they're supposed to do. So what are your thoughts on what's going on?
But that to me also shows
I think
where we're feeling
farmers on the front line.
that our bucket
It's bigger. It's got the WEF,
Yeah.
WHO, and I just think when you hear of all these MPs who've actually been doing it for years, and they're just lip service. They don't mean anything that they're saying. And I really believe that there's a bit of shaming going on as well. They're saying we have to work together, we have to make sure, we have to make it hard. It's like, well, if we don't do that, does that mean actually that we're unlaw? Does that mean, so it almost puts a bit of shame, and you have to keep it quite quiet if you don't, then actually something's wrong. And it's like people are at their breaking point. When you think about bigger agenda with WEF, you think about the Agenda 2030.
Oh man, that's scary, isn't it?
And you think about what's happening in Europe, what's happening in Brussels, in France, all over. So
I mean, they wouldn't let us bring our tractors down here, would they, this time? That's outrageous.
isn't it?
But I feel like the farmers are being respectful, they're towing the line, and they're like, okay, I've seen no violence, no anger and hate, because whenever there's these kind of protests, like literally we had somebody on that, he came straight on and said, oh, this is taken over by far right people. It's like, I don't see anybody, no, I mean, this bloke's in his New Holland overalls, just here, and he's covered in oil. Does he really look like an extremist? He's a working man.
Yeah, these are working people. They're all working people. I'm actually, when you think about something,
and by being here today, you have done something. You have made a point. You have stood together, shoulder to shoulder. You showed the strength of our very special community. Your action by being here today and doing something. It might feel like you're not doing enough, but really believe me, this is a massive thing.
They are, yeah. And the amount of hours that they put in there, how hard they have to work to earn Not a lot, yeah. And people are like, oh, well, they get this, they get that. No, I wouldn't. You can pay me all the money in the world to be a farmer. It's,
He's making a difference.
yeah.
In the same way that you being such you is making a difference. And the future events is making a difference. It's so important that we keep that pressure on. That we
Going to
pay our
achieve. People
role.
must say
Stand up
something.
to
I
be
don't listen to. I don't believe. I mean, when you hear the heartbreaking, the heartbreaking stories about that young man, that farmer, he lost his
respondents from
it's just heartbreaking.
And it's disgusting. And do you think China will be doing any of this? Do you think Russia will? Do you think so? I think some countries in Europe probably won't be doing this. I can't see the Greeks going for this somehow.
And I think it's very respectful, but you look what's happening in France, and they're getting things done. And I'm not the same, but it feels like the more respectful you are, the more than
Oh, yeah.
What's the balance?
It's difficult, isn't it? And that's the problem. I was saying to somebody, it's a pendulum, and we've gone like right, and then we come back all the way to left, and now I think the far right and the far left are quite close to each other, because what we're seeing here is there has to be a middle ground, and this is where I'm fed up with everybody arguing. I think if we listen to one another and are willing to do a sort of in between, then we'll get somewhere. But there seems to be this incessant idea that you just shout at people and dictate to them, and that isn't really what socialism is either. I think socialism is more about caring for the people around you, but they make this sound like it's so glamorous, and you're doing it. You should be a good farmer and toe the line. You know, you're hurting the environment. And how many times have we heard that? I mean, I'm 40 plus. Don't look it. No, and well, man, it's been CFCs. We should have run out of oil. The ice caps should have melted by now. We should have all be underwater most of the country. Although it's having a solid go today.
Yeah,
I know, right? I know, right? It's crazy. So it's all about money, and it's the unelected that are in control.
The ESG, the DEI or DIE, I think it's within the policies within the councils and Senate, and they're not talking for the people. And I do think it's about depopulation, and they want these 15-minute cities. They want to stop people from using their cars. I think it's a whole lot going on. It's Agenda 2030.
I think the car thing as well, especially for me. I'm a mechanic by trade. I run a brewery as well, so I've got that background. And for me, the issue that I see is it's very double standard. So you can still pollute if you pay for it, and that doesn't seem to be. If I'd almost have more respect if it was like, right, everybody, anybody, you can't do that. But it's not. It's if you can afford it, you can abuse it.
Yeah, well, we know that from Davos.
Yeah.
Was it 150 planes were actually coming today at the house?
Oh, look at Khan. That's with the ULEZ. What a big scam that is. This is just another scam. It's like they're on it. The problem is they're trying to move all these things onto us, and they only could work if they use gradualism, because otherwise you end up with thousands. So they're probably going to let us have our rant, but then they're going to try.
Look at the councils. They're doing it already in the councils. Actually, look at they're actually pushing this in with this digital identity.
Oh yeah.
They want to do that. And they think CBDC.
Farming.
Then it'll be social media will be attached to your credit score and your banking. And where does it stop?
Yeah, your bank won't stop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you get debanked if you don't toe the line. Well, Canada has passed a bunch of laws, dictator Trudeau. It's funny. This guy, who Drakeford, I think what he's done today is what I would call pulling a Trudeau. So where everybody turns up, you do a runner. And he gets on his aeroplane and flies off to another country.
A seed
It's an unbelievable
in a
game.
field that was south
It's like that, or he's hiding in his
good
shed.
soil. And that seed here,
He is a
seed has
coward.
grown into an oak because everybody travelled, everybody came here for a reason. Because we love what we do. That's why people get fed. I can tell you my father has never had a passport. He's never been abroad. And he said to me when they brought this, 10% trees, I haven't worked this land, and my forefathers have, for people to come here and plant trees. Because we've worked our hands to the bone to get that land to produce food. A ma' hwnna'n bwysig. Ein tir ni dio. It's our land. And we produce the food. Let us be proud. Let us be strong. And let me tell you, I've got a few followers and everybody's behind us. The general public understand that they're going to need a farmer once, twice, or 3 times every day of their lives. And if we don't stick together, and it's been a tough bloody month for me, I will tell you, I nearly walked away. But we will be strong. We will stick together, drive forward. And I'm going to be honest with you now, it's time for change. Digon, you digon. Awn ni adra fama, we'll go home from here with our hearts full of joy. We have done something special. Da ni di neud rhywbeth be da ni gofio am yn oes for the rest of our lives. We were part of a farming food revolution. And we will bring this to the nation, to the people, and feed them sustainably, environmentally friendly, and affordably. Dwi'm yn mynd I fel y cachyd yn mwy. Diolch o galon. A diolch I chi am be da chi'n neud. Hefo'ch gilydd, da ni'n mynd I neud gwahaniaeth. Together, we will make a difference. Diolch o fawr.
To the 12 people watching, thank you for tuning in. For those that are just joining, John's currently at the Senate, the Welsh Government building in Cardiff,
Sheep farmer from Swansea.
where Welsh farmers are protesting against the
Dictatorship
of the Welsh Labour government policy on farming.
Luke, what would you like me to do now?
And tidy up to you, mate. It looks very wet.
It is blooming soaking. But I'm so proud of these people for coming out and standing up to all this waffle.
Yes,
and
just laying down.
We need to stick together through this.
Somebody else has got a speaker. It's quite interesting. Let's go and see what she's saying.
Progress like this, and God knows what's going to happen next if they don't listen. But that's
Oh, she's getting told up.
It's been interesting to see if there's people for or against what they're doing. Well, there.
No, I think they're with, but they just feel very passionately about it.
Yeah.
So
I didn't ask you right in front of you. I'm sorry.
our industry for the younger generation. And I'd just like to thank everyone for their support today. And I wish you all a safe journey.
So Rob is in. Farmers equals food equals future, and it goes in a circle. Makes sense to me. Indeed, Rob. Indeed. It's a good turnout considering it's a wet day in February. It really is a good turnout.
Can I also thank the five who went to eat the invitation back to the okay. On the option,
What's your battery like, John?
I'm running. I'm about to die actually on battery. So I might have to save it because no, you know what? Let's run it to the bitter end. Luke, what are your plans from here on in?
I haven't really got any, mate. I'm in the middle of I was editing some stuff for the channel. So I'm like a free bird at the minute.
Well, you can run the live stream if you want to continue with it, or if you want to do something else, you can. I owe you big time for this one.
No problem. It's I mean, once your camera goes dead, obviously it would. I don't know if it'll leave.
Yeah, I'll leave it running. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people have been listening to me for over 2 hours. So.
So shall we? Well, maybe we should end it here before I completely go flat.
Yeah.
We'll just. I'll go over here and we'll stand by this rainy thing and look at everybody, and we'll round it up. And well, thank you everybody for watching. And I'm stopping this because one, I'm soaked. Two, it's the Welsh national anthem, I think.
It's only the Welsh that you could be stood at a protest and they go into full song. Love it.
Wow. Wow, that was emotional. Goodness me. I tell you what, the Romans can get these guys for 200 years. I don't think old Drakeford's going to get them. So I don't think we have anything too much to worry about. Luke, you're a legend. Thank you so much. I owe you big time, buddy. So we'll have to do a recap video of what's happened today, and yeah, we'll have a chat. Is that all right?
Yeah, no problem, mate. And thank you to the 15 people that jumped in as well. So in the chat. So thank you very much.
You're all legends, and thank you so much for being involved. And yeah, we really appreciate it. And good luck to all these farmers. We'll keep following the story, and yeah, we'll keep going. God bless. Thanks, Luke. We'll see you all soon.
See you all later.
Bye-bye.